So, last time, you were on your journey, traveling in coffins provided by Wolf, heading to the domain of one Montclair du Lot to find the location where the adversary you've been chasing, the kindred experimenting on their own kind to create a new bloodline, were hiding. We left off with you getting in. Sorry. With you getting back in your coffins after spending the night in a small village, having a chance to hunt and feed along the way. And as you're all climbing back in for another day's rest, we come back to the game. As you travel along the long dirt roads through the tall hills and mountains, until once again the carriage pulls to a stop as night falls, and you all awaken. Um, I would like a rouse check of everyone, please. The only one who's gets hungrier is Wolf.
I've got a couple of dead bodies in the back I can feast on. Oh, Zane!
um,
I suppose
so
you
you've
didn't
all
go for more, what's his name? Jock, or whatever his name is.
Jean,
Uh, the butler person.
John.
Yeah, that's what I said, John.
You said Jacques.
I said John. Just that I said it through half a
I heard
mouthful of
shock.
spaghetti bolognese.
I also heard Jacques.
I guess spaghetti bolognese makes you speak French.
Um, so as you awaken, you are not in a town, seemingly not anywhere remotely close to one. But the carriage has stopped as Jean stares ahead into the darkness. And Wolf, being the one who was not resting within the car, the coffins, and has not yet popped the nails to the other coffins. If you follow John's line of sight, you can see a man on the road ahead, stood in the middle of the road. What'd you do?
Wolf. It would be a lie to say that Wolf the trusted sort. Wolf has some ideologies all to himself. Now, Wolf does have eyes of the beast, so he can see in the dark. So even with the ability to see in the dark, there's only the one person, right?
In your line of sight, yeah.
In my
The
life.
area is kind of, think like you're going through like an almost pass. So it's like built up hills on each side of you. Because for those who are from England, you're currently traveling through the Peak District, which is the one of the most mountainous locations within England.
Don't tell the Americans that. They'll think there's actually something decent there.
No, if you want actual mountains, you need to go to to fucking Scotland.
If you want actual mountains, you've got to go anywhere else.
Wolf looks at the individual. He thinks for a second. Is the individual looking our way?
Yep. From what you can see, the individual is tall, wearing a thick, dark leather kind of long coat. He's got hands tucked in the pockets. He's wearing kind of a wide brim hat that kind of covers his face a bit, but his body is facing you. And he's not moving, he's just kind of stood there.
We're going to first and foremost we know we're going into another.
So sorry?
Because we know we're going into another vampire's territory.
Yes. Well, technically, you have been in another vampire's territory. You have not been in. You left your territory a little while back. A few days ago, essentially. So you have been technically traveling through an area who you don't know if it's owned or not by someone.
We're using since the first off to sense hostility, in case it's a bandit or a highwayman of some sort, but also it can sense supernatural traits like the beast or the Garu or stuff like that. Which is for me resolve plus animalism, and for them composer plus sub.
Okay. Composer plus what? Sorry.
Sub.
I didn't hear that again. I'm so sorry.
Subterfuge.
Subterfuge. Okay. Okay. Make your roll.
That's 2 successes. Ooh, 4 successes.
From this distance, it's a little harder to get the read, but you do get some things. You get the idea that, yes, he is not human.
Mhm.
You get the feeling he is one of your own. He is kindred. Um, you at this distance do not sense any hostility. He seems very calm, if anything.
Wolf looking over. Bienvenue, my friend! He'll yell out.
He kind of cocks his head a little bit. He's like, "What are you all doing here?" He's got a very kind of American twinge to his tone.
Traveling the long roads tonight. And a long road it has been.
Where are you heading?
What's the name of the town?
Nether End.
Netherend.
Another end.
Ah,
Oh.
going to see old Duloc.
Well, it is only, I suppose, proper. We've entered his territory. Might as well make ourselves announced.
Well, you ain't entered it yet. Once you get out of this pass, you will.
Of course. Is this yours, then?
Yep.
Ah, then announcements are due.
Wolf will take his hat, kind of put it on his chest as he gives a little bit of a bow. He's kind of hanging to the side of the carriage.
Baxter Bradford Wolf at your service. BB, if you would like.
He kind of looks at you and is like, My name's Carter
There are, of
Gray.
course, others. Cardigray. You have an American twinge.
That I do.
Well,
Girls turned.
always good to see a fellow foreigner.
Now, we do have something to square up. You and
Something to
your
square up.
traveling companions have been feeding in my
Mhm.
territory.
Wolf, who was not there for when people fed, look.
I see. I was not aware that they have done such a thing. Payment is due, of course. Do you know which it was? I can wake them up, or I can wake them all up if you'd like.
The ones who have fed in the territory. Your little Nosferatu and your Bruja.
Mm, very well. Would you like for me to wake them up, or shall we come to a comeuppance agreement before I do so?
I prefer to talk them to be the ones to receive their verdict.
Ha ha! Very well. You're being more fair than I'd be.
And that he kind of climbs up onto the cart itself, kind of walking along the cart before he hops to the back, to which he will take out. He'll take them all out as he goes.
Mind the traveling business. I am by trade a mortician, so it's easiest to get around this way.
And he's a crowbar in hand, just opening up Zane and Jax's.
So Zane and Jax, you are released first out of your companions.
Oh.
Good evening, you
Big-
naughty little nitwits.
Big stretch.
And to what do I exactly owe such a pleasant introduction? Normally,
you
you've
have
already
a-
told me to eat a rat by now, or fight one. Usually
have a-
one or the other.
You have a gentleman caller by the name of Cardigan up front. You should go speak to him.
Cardigan. Can't say I've ever heard of no cardigan.
Well, now you have. He's an American.
Oh, just sort of like loosens his shoulders a bit. Alright, you seem to have. Zane, not exactly, just us two? Alright, this is gonna
Well,
be interesting.
you two were the naughty little ducklings that he's got issues with. So go on. I'm going to open up the other two. We're going to have some British things like tea, crumpets, and Christmas crackers.
Right. He owns the area. I feel like you could have started off with that little tidbit of information. Just a smidgen.
Nah, this is more fun this way.
Never changed, bastard. Pop out the carriage door. Stretch some more.
Oh, you guys are already outside.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Open air.
We've
carriage.
taken the coffins out. Yeah, it's an open air carriage on that end.
Just pop
Because
out the
it's
carriage
essentially
regardless.
it's a usher carriage. But yeah, and I will leave you two to talk as I open up the other boxes, having
open up.
a camp kettle set up with no fire at all, as we were just drinking cold ass water. with leaves
Just
in it.
open up
Tea.
Tab, Lillian, and Victoria. And yeah,
I forgot you were here.
He says, looking at Victoria.
I've been here the entire time.
Good. With a face like that, no one will dare to ask us what the fuck's going on.
Wolf's gonna get back to work.
But yeah, you hop off the carriage, Zane. I'm guessing you're doing the same, given you've also been
Yeah.
called upon.
I am doing that.
You both see the man ahead of you stood in the middle of the road, kind of just watching you.
Well, Zane, I do believe it is only fair to give upon you the decision of whom shall be speaking with our new compatriot first. Given that I have my way with words, I will let you decide first. For I presume we're about to have two very separate reactions. Not because I presume we're on different pages, but because I cannot get a read on you, no matter how hard I try.
You can talk first if you want. I don't really mind.
It would
So-
appear that it has been decided that I will be speaking first of the two that you have decided must come forth to speak. I
Yep.
presume I am well under the understanding of why I'm here. I'm presuming that will be why our little... Well, I wasn't exactly keeping an eye on my compatriots here, but I speak for myself.
Yep. We got a debt to settle.
Of which I would be completely amiss to ever state that I would expect the otherwise. I simply find it's easier to get these sorts of things to come to me when it comes to these little, areas that I'm not exactly familiar with.
So, what do you both think is a fair punishment for theft?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think anything that I would state would leave you even remotely humoured, let alone interested. I'm more of a transactional kind. And see, sometimes a shopkeeper's just a little too far to go and have a little, quick barter with. But please, state your terms.
Hmm. What business you got with the look?
Sort of like, does the little, like, nose twitch. Looks to his compatriots. It's probably best, it's probably best he sees what they're thinking before he starts answering,
I mean, they're all sat in the back of the carriage having cold water while you're dealing with your debt.
You're just gonna leave me to speak?
Me?
Looks at everyone in the carriage.
Oh.
Who knows damn well that Jax has zero filter.
I mean, what was the topic
Suppose it would
about again?
depend on.
You're not even listening. Terrible.
It's kind of hard to listen when you're waking up. I'm not sure I'm hearing a new beat. She's
But are we
gonna just
still
peek,
having this conversation?
she's gonna peek around like the corner to see the other person. Ah, that's the new beat.
Oh dear, terrible, terrible. Zane, would you perhaps have some sort of input on this before I
Wait,
simply go right ahead?
so what's our debt again?
You fed in my territory without permission.
Now, do you have any proof that they did?
Yes,
Where's the proof?
witnesses.
Please ignore her. She's probably gonna try and sweet talk her way out of this situation, and quite frankly, that's not my style.
I don't really need to sweet talk my way out of the situation.
Oh, goodness, give it a rest. I get the point. You don't need to speak for me. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't about to blab.
And my sheriff, well, I trust him.
As well you should if you're so far as to name somebody a sheriff in these parts. That's not exactly a title that's common, so it's a title that's earned.
Unless that is
Right,
actually Leigh, in
alright.
which case that is a weird first name.
Also, Leigh, the
Yes.
music coming off him is like, kind of low, bassy, like strums of like a double bass.
Well,
I imagine that she's
here's the
just like,
terminology of sheriff.
if she's
Oh,
like
go on, Kaz.
listening to all these instruments and that lot, she's now just got like a little head bob going, just to let the bass like the dum 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 type of thing.
Yes, Wolf does know the thing of sheriff. You definitely would have heard that.
Suppose the answer to the question would have to depend on their relations with their neighbor.
With their neighbor,
Hmm.
Lillian.
Well, seeing as I have been left to speak my little eulogy alone here,
Kaz
we
raises
are
his
here.
brows.
We are here to slay and or deal with, in a more permanent sense, this French vampire prick.
Well,
That
what
you
just
are
happened there?
not him. Deal with that information as you
Just-
please.
Did everyone else just get that?
Well, I definitely ain't him.
Did everyone else get that, or was that just me?
What?
Would Discord seem to have a quick refresh?
No,
Nope,
it
just
was
you.
just
A
you.
little bit, yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, weird. I watched that
Oh, it's
happen
like-
live where it like knocked me out of chat for like a millisecond before putting me back in.
Yeah, it does that sometimes. Well, I definitely ain't him. And tell me, what kindred has a good relationship with their neighbor?
Sort of, rather nonchalantly shrugs. As I play the
Especially
one character that is most definitively not a politician of some description.
I presume there's probably one out there, but if the other come very rare and few between.
Well,
Just holds the bridge of his nose.
Wolf, who has not only heard the terminology of sheriff, but has just heard Jack saying that our job here is to assassinate a member of the Camarilla to somebody who is a Camarillan. Wolf is just at this point takes out a piece of paper, licks the edges, and starts rolling a cigarette. Just like,
well,
That's kind of what I thought. You anarchs. I really don't know your place, do you?
You know, it's funny that you say that. I really am the only one here who represents that terminology, and yet somehow it does rather appear that you are stood in front of an entire group of us. I'm starting to see that perhaps maybe you haven't counted your heads properly. Now listen, we can keep this
Jack's the
between
time of
ourselves.
talking.
Hey, I
Jack's
give
the
you
time of
every
talking
single
things
chance to stop it
over.
before you left me to my own devices. I asked every single one of you what I was here to say, and you all left me with a lot of silence, so don't you dare.
Sweetie boy,
I think
it
you'll-
was entertaining as fuck.
I think you'll find
Mr. Cardigan.
I think you find I was
Go
trying
on,
to speak,
Cass.
and then you told me to shut up.
You're terrible.
But you are worse to an extent.
I
I'll
have,
have you know, I'm probably the
well,
one of the more
before,
better ones for this.
then why the fuck am I doing it? Why
Because
the fuck
Jack,
is he doing it? Do it. Go on.
because
Come
Jack's
on.
told me to shut the fuck up, and therefore it's the Jack's now.
You were trying to convince
When
them
was
that I
he
had
in
nothing to
charge?
pay.
Oh, fuck. This is what I get for being with people younger than me.
That's pretty much
Cardigan.
everybody, but suit
Mr.
yourself.
Cardigan.
Mm-hmm.
It is not everybody at all. You're Rillin, right? Ivory Tower.
Yep.
Well, it's no secret that we're anarchs. However, I would like to say that we do know our place on this occasion, as we're not actually here on anarch business. Our issues with Duloc have more to tie with the Book of Nod than it does us being anarchs.
His eyes kind of narrow at that. And he's like, elaborate.
Your associate, further up the road, has come into a little bit of a habit harboring mutants, children turned into kindred. Either by his own command or by the command of someone that's allied with him. Either way, he's taking part in this little cabaret of horrors that's been created. They call themselves the, what was the name that they gave us?
Daughters
The
of
sisters or
Cacophony.
something like that.
They call themselves the Daughters of Cacophony.
It's kind of like I had heard some rumors. I was having the hounds look into it.
Well, those rumors are not so much rumors, and I get that it's tough. We're not exactly friends, but seeing as we haven't gone rampaging, killing every ivory tower kindred from here to Manchester, we have one singular goal. And we're not the only ones with this goal. Don't know if you've noticed, but there's been Sabat about as well with a similar goal.
I have noticed them. They are not subtle people.
Nope.
This makes things more complicated.
That it does. Now, I'm willing for you to punish the two idiots here for the feasting thing. But on the whole, we're only here to deal with Duloc. And his little atrocities running around.
He's kind of like, seems like he's thinking for a moment. He's like, all right, let's come to an agreement then.
All
Am I
right.
back to be the primary member of this conversation, or can I simply continue, while standing here? I don't even have anything witty. I'm getting real frustrated, if I'm being honest, and that's a pretty rarity for me.
Brujas.
Yes, brujas. Well, terrible. Trust me, I do not particularly enjoy working outside of my little section of
Before we
Manchester.
stop bitch fucking each other again, let's get to the agreement first, and then we can verbally slap one another in the ass.
I'm willing to let you pass and give some retribution of your own. But you will be accompanied by my sheriff.
All right.
The
I've
entire
got no issue
place.
with that.
And the sheriff will bring Duloc to me. I can't have some anarchs killing a criminal in my domain.
I mean, we just gotta make sure he's dead, so, like, who kills him? Does anybody have any issues with who kills him?
As long as he dies.
I
As
don't
long
think
as
Do
I
you have
get
an
to
issue,
fight him.
Jax? Do you have an issue, Kaz? Because I keep cutting you off. I am terribly sorry about that.
I don't think we had it anywhere in our description of our task in hand to be the ones to lay the final blows, and not really no.
All right.
You may do what you
Well,
wish with the monstrosities.
Oh, I will be most pleased to do so.
I mean,
Say what you will about our little
anybody,
anarch asses, but we like to get our hands dirty.
your little anarch ass ain't so little. Anybody got any issues with having a sheriff on board from the Rilla? I don't, and it's another body to fight with us.
And it could lead to being a decent cover. Or better.
Mm.
Sounds rather to me like we're actually somewhat on the same page here. Contrary to belief, I really don't like going through people's territory without much communication, so I don't. So if I must, yeah, I'll take a boy on board.
You know, I'm pretty sure I'm outvoted at the moment. Quick group huddle, just to discuss something quick.
I shall be
All
back
right.
in front of you momentarily.
Give us. What's up, Kaz?
Just as like group huddle, she'll like go as quiet as she can so we can't overhear. Are we going to have to hide the whole kid situation from the sheriff as well? Like, what if he finds out about that?
Well,
What
don't let
kid?
me do the talking, because I'll tell him.
The one
Well, he
that
did
could
just say
end
he
up
doesn't give
wakening up as a mage?
Oh, no, actually, we should probably tell them about that.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, that's a pretty big information that they also need to know that they probably don't know. Especially seeing it seems our friend here, Cardigan, ain't too much of a good friend with Duloc.
Hmm.
Duloc was
Alright.
probably planning on using the kid as an atomic bomb.
Might get more
Oh,
bodies out of it, too.
In that case,
would you
Wait,
like me to
atomic
go
bombs don't
forth
exist
and,
yet! Don't take that! Don't take that!
So, would you like me to go forth, blab my mouth a little bit so you can all declare complete, sincerity again? Or we're actually doing this one as a team?
actually, I'm going to be honest, I'm pretty sure he may have overheard.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
probably.
he
But,
probably overheard. None of us are quiet as fuck.
I
I'm
mean,
not
I,
entirely
Miss-
certain why
Mr.
you brought us
Cardigan.
over for this.
Yep.
I couldn't think of any other way for him to find out.
Do you know about Duloc's little explosive holy girl?
Explosive holy girl.
Oh. Okay, so he doesn't know about that. All right. Yeah, hold on. Get in the huddle. Get in the huddle. He's just motioning for Cardigan to join the huddle.
He kind of walks over, but he does not crouch down to huddle with you all. He just kind of stares at you.
All right.
God, this is the difference between Anarchy and Tower. Wolf, who's also not really that good of an Anarch, just goes,
So, we also know that Duloc. God, that's just a name with a bad taste. Duloc. Makes me think he's a short ass. Duloc's holed up in a church, and he's got a lovely little zealotess child who's not one of the vampire children, kindred children. No, he's it's a true believer.
He just kind of looks down and is like, "You've got a child of true faith."
So we've been told. We haven't seen it ourselves, but the source is pretty reliable. It comes from, well, I don't know how old she is, but she's pretty old. And it came from trading of favors, so even we're bound by that.
So
She isn't awoken yet, though. But she's being bred to that. Ew. She's being formed to that decision. You know what? Fuck it.
Essentially a
Duloc is a
pet
creep.
project.
Yeah, it's like a
I
guard
mean-
dog, except one that can explode on everyone.
yes, Duloc is a creep. Greedy,
What kind of?
ambitious, classic Ventru.
Oh, good.
So-
We're on the same page here.
Goodness, we really are going to go over every stereotype in the course of 15 minutes, are we?
Hey, look. When it comes to kindred, stereotypes work.
If the glove fits.
You must understand I am probably amongst the youngest in
I
this
love
group.
that the two of it.
I'll never get used to it.
Americans are the ones being racist to you. Oh,
But he's used the church as a cover for a long time. Two of his ghouls run the thing during the day. And then, but he does take in orphans from time to time. I think that's more just for his particular tastes, though.
Ew.
He likes feeding on young blood. So,
So he has a weak palate.
That does seem a
So
little
what-
distasteful to me, but
He's
That's
been a thorn in
disgusting.
my side since he got here.
Oh, goody. We're actually on the same team then. We have similar opinions. I like you, Cardigan.
Mm-hmm. I can't say I like any of you.
That's fine. I have that effect
It's
on
okay.
people. Good for fighting things.
We grow on you like a parasite or a tumor. Actually, you shouldn't probably touch. He points to Lillian. You shouldn't probably touch her. She's a Tazim. She can literally grow on you like a tumor. So we're in agreement on this then. Letting the sheriff, us breaking in, taking care of the children. Sheriff takes care of Duloc. All of us be careful about the literal hand grenade of divine energy that he has.
Yep.
Cool.
If there is one of those things hanging around, it needs to be dealt with quickly.
Mm-hmm. Divorce me had to die. Divorce me had to survive. So anybody got any issues? As anarchs, we are technically a democracy. That technically being, if you can survive the voting booth, go at it.
I see no problem with what's going to occur.
Kaz, Zane, you both of you have been.
No, I agree. I would have stepped in and said something if I didn't.
You know,
Kaz, do you still have any issues with the sheriff?
I never had any issues in the first place.
Oh.
Hmm.
Oh, no, you didn't. Yeah, no, you were the issue with the child thing. Yeah, okay. I see now. No, wait, who had it? Did anybody? I'm misremembering something here. It's okay. So, yeah, I think we've got a deal on our hands. None of mine are having any issues with it, and seeing as you're ivory tower, you're the only one that can't have issues with it.
He kind of goes, good. We'll come to an agreement.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll kind of...
You want to shake on it, or just leave it in paper?
He will, hold out his hand. As he
Wolf
goes,
will take it.
as he kind of goes, Thorn! And from behind you all, someone that you swear just wasn't there walks around.
Obfuscate.
Yeah.
Hmm.
A very tall, gangly man. Just kind of looks down at you all and is like... And then holds out a piece of paper that is basically a contract. And like a
Jax,
charcoal.
you're gonna have to sign it. I can't use my real name.
Just sort of like makes a bunch of like I can't even call them facial gestures, just head gestures, just
It's not technically my name anymore, so you're gonna have to sign it.
Thorin looks at you all. It's like, the sooner you sign, the sooner we can move on.
I'll sign it,
Contracts
but I'm
are
reading it.
everything for kindreds. This ensures we both uphold the end of our bargains.
Bureaucracy.
We really have brought up every single form of government that we could in the past 30 minutes, huh?
This happens when an anarch meets an ivory tower. Just go with it.
Half of them have been brought up by you, but go by it. Right. Let's have a look at this contract.
This happens because I'm old as hell. I'm probably not as old as some people here.
Jax will read the contract.
It is a fairly simple contract detailing what has um, been stated in the conversation so far, the terms of each. So it's very obvious this guy has been listening and writing out the contract as the conversation has gone on.
And there's
He's a
no little
fucking
surprises in
Sombra.
there, is there?
What's that? Sorry, Jack?
There's no surprises in here, is there?
It's a fairly straightforward contract. There doesn't seem to be any hidden clause or anything like that in it.
Yeah,
Just
Jack's probably a little surprisingly actually stops to read the contract. Seems
I even took out reading glasses.
you're a Bruja. Like,
The finest
not
of print.
you're rash, but you're not like unreasonable.
yeah, but it's
Brujas
also
are
fucking
they're not only
Jax.
the most
Who
rashest,
throws a
they're also the
punch and works out the
smartest clan.
consequences later.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you've already thrown out the punch. Now you're dealing with the consequences, and that's the part that you need to be smart for.
And Jax will put his name down on the contract.
Jax is a great Bruja, by the way. I love him.
But yeah, the
Co-
contract has been signed. Thorn will take it back, and then he'll hold out his hand and be like, "Abernathy Thorn, at your service."
Jax.
Baxter Bradford Wolf, you can call me BB, you can call me Wolf, you can call me that asshole over there eating a dead body, it's all up to you.
Lillian S. Morgan.
God, I love your last name.
Kind of eyes slowly move over to Kaz.
Wait, we have last names?
Well,
mean,
no,
I-
obviously, not all of us.
Oh, good. Then it's just Kaz.
And then Victoria's like, Victoria. Ruther. And he looks over to Zane.
Zane.
Although little do they realize, Zane is his last name. His first name is In.
Well,
I will cut him like a fish if that is the case.
Traveling together for some time, at least.
Well, I'm not sure about you, sir, but I can certainly inform you that I will be spending the majority of my time in a coffin. I'm not sure how you like to travel.
Especially in something that isn't so light tight.
I have my ways.
Goody. So I should expect at every corner that you're going to be behind our shoulders, right?
Perhaps.
I love those kind. They're always there when I yell their names.
He definitely seems smart enough not to be underfoot, at least.
I mean, he's a sheriff.
Yeah.
You don't get around being sheriff by being an idiot. That's why you've got scourges.
Anyway, shall we get on the road?
Sure.
He will pull his gangly ass up onto the carriage.
He's not
and
Nosferatu, is he? Like looking at him,
No.
he's doesn't.
he doesn't
Yeah,
look
'cause
Nosferatu.
because at this moment, Wolf's like, "This motherfucker's the Sombra."
I mean, you wouldn't be wrong.
This motherfucker.
Yeah, he disappears out of nowhere. Mentions he's got ways to avoid the light. looks fucking creepy, has a contract signed up already. This motherfucker's Lasombra. Fucking
He's just one of the
bureaucrat.
he's just one of the rare ones in this age that's actually already with the Camarilla.
Yeah, the rest are with Sabat.
Well, in this age is also when the Sabbat Civil Wars were kind of going on
Yes.
as well. So it's not unusual for ones to defect.
In fairness, in that way, him and Lillian have a lot in common because Lillian's one of the rare Anarch Tazim at the moment.
Yep.
Because Tazims are also still Sabat hierarchy.
Uh-huh.
Wolf's just a gangrel. They're everywhere.
Well, now that that's all been decided, shall we get a move on? I particularly would rather quite like to get to some semblance of civilization again.
Carter kind of steps out of the path of your thing and goes, "We'll be keeping an eye anyway. But as long as you uphold the terms of the contract, we shouldn't have any more issues. And so it's clear this time. For as long as we are working together, you have permission to feed in my territory.
Well, that answers the question I was about to ask.
Just don't leave a trail of bodies.
Trust me,
It's a mess to clean up."
I will not. And for what it's worth, I appreciate having a good working relationship with those I have to travel through the lands of.
I
Let's
hate
go get
working
this
with
son of a
Anarchs to
bitch.
begin with. And then he'll wander off.
I think he likes us.
Yeah. He just hasn't realized it yet, Wolf.
Mhm.
Kind of like
Man,
I mean, no one
Thor's
got.
just like, "The praying saint friendly with many."
Yes, but
well,
at
I
the
mean,
same
he's a
time,
prince.
no one got executed, so it
The
isn't
trick
so.
is to be good at your job, which we are.
Oh,
Don't let her
by the
fool
way,
you.
Oh, trust me, I
for
have
those of
really
you that
good
are
at my
new
job.
here, Victoria, the prince is the Camarillan equivalent of our barons, except they do a little bit more. They're the guys in charge. And this fella, he's a sheriff, which means he's the lawkeeper. He's like our Reeves, Victoria. Are you writing this down, Vicky?
I don't have any paper.
Well, you're already failing the first quiz. Everybody on board?
Back in the box.
You
Which
don't
is
have to, it's
totally
nighttime.
my out of character way to explain what a
Ah,
prince and a sheriff are to those of you that have never played in World of Darkness.
yeah.
Prince is just their version of a baron. Sheriff is their lawkeeper, which is their version of a reeve, which is what our anarch lawkeeper is called.
hmm Speaking of,
The
you've
one
never
big
met
difference,
Billy in
though,
your territory.
we haven't. No. The one big difference, though, is that whereas anarchs believe anarchs are a meritocracy, you prove yourself to become a baron by killing the other barons. A prince just means they're really fucking old because they're a traditional empire. So the oldest vampires tend to be in charge. So that's why Wolf, who was already expecting him to be a prince throughout, you're probably older than me. But
He's also one of the ones in this area that's backed. So
mhm.
it's one of those where he's a bit more dangerous than your Baron in that sense.
We're anarchs, we're idiots by nature. Wolf will climb aboard, waiting for everybody else to climb aboard. He's not gonna put everybody in the coffin just yet because it's nighttime.
Yeah, everyone can stay out the coffin for a while. Thorn and his kind of tall gangliness is kind of like sat on the carriage, just kind of
Lillian just
watching
getting
you all.
directly on top.
So, wait, since we're traveling together, I've got to ask, what is your kind of flavor?
Hmm. The flavor of oblivion.
Oh dear, he's a poet.
Why you all gotta be so creepy? Yep, okay.
Wolf's climbing on top. He's just gonna sit on top.
You ain't one of the you ain't one of those undead summoning ones. You're yeah. If you are, could you summon me a snack?
It's like,
I don't know. Ask Victor Hugo.
No, his hue is gone.
What the fuck is wrong with you, Lillian?
Lillian just smiles and looks off into the night.
Can I not have an ounce of happiness? Fucking Zane's taking everything I got.
He's just gonna be on the top. He's just got his little telescope thing looking outwards.
John!
yes, sir.
Drive!
Of course. Thorn kind of looks at Wolf and is like, what about you, my friend? You've kind of got the stink of old masters on you.
Yeah. When it comes to taste, I prefer the dead. Grim Reapers, what they call us. We like to eat the sickly, the old, the dying, and the dead. I've also happened to have a foul mutation upon myself. Blood does not sustain me. Luckily, when you eat the dead, nobody matters if the organs are missing compared to the living, so I'm less of a liability compared to the rest of my ilk.
Well, for now, you've got the permission to feed in the territory. That includes your mannerisms.
Just no messes, Jax.
No messes.
I don't leave messes. That's a lie. I leave a lot of messes. But I don't leave those kinds of messes.
Well, I'm just saying you're the one that likes violence.
I am quite a purveyor of violence. Yes, that is true.
They meant to each their own. I like a good bit of violence, but I don't like it for my meal.
Well,
Speaking... Oh, go on.
no, go on.
Oh, no, you go on.
No, it's fine. Go. Say what you say.
Well, I mean, I ain't saying anything. What are you saying?
You were about to say something. Say it.
I don't know what I was about to say. I forgot. Now you say what you were supposed to say.
We're not
It's gonna be a
taking the next breath
long
now.
cart ride if this is how this dialogue's going.
But yeah, he's just sat there. It's very tall, so as he's kind of sat on the kind of bench part of the thing, his knees are like up to his chest. That kind of tall. As he's kind of hunched over. Kind of keeping it, just watching all of you. As you travel. Does anyone else have any? This is as you're traveling. Does anyone else have anything to say?
Jax will just probably being like casually, like comically casual with the fucking sheriff. Just like, yeah, I know. Me and your boss almost, almost came to some big like half-assed argument, but
Oh, he would have killed you. Strapped you out in the sun. If it weren't for your friend over there.
Perhaps, perhaps. But if he's strong enough to do that, it would have been fun, you can't deny.
Oh, he is plenty strong to do that. Plenty old enough too.
Almost disappoints me, to be honest. So much power you get with age of being a vampire, how boring. I just like getting good at shit. I don't want to wait for it.
Not so much just age.
Oh,
It's
of course, but there's
experience.
certainly a little bit of vintage wine in that blood, right? Blood we don't have, yeah, whatever, but...
Hmm.
It's just a lot of just, like, really casual shooting the shit like that, though.
Yeah, he will respond occasionally. He won't respond to everything you say. You can tell he doesn't particularly think much of you all.
He probably doesn't really do much think, but...
Oh, he does. He's an incredibly smart, like, vampire.
That's not the same thing.
Um, but yeah. So, you travel on and on. And as you kind of crest the hill, this long turning pass, and you can see over in the distance the town of Netherend, place where Montclair du Lac is the one who owns that domain. The sun starts to rise. And you all retreat into your coffins and tarps. And your new traveling companion, Mr. Thorn, vanishes in his own way for the daytime.
He vanishes in his own way, just becomes dust.
More like
Oh,
becomes
pretty much
shadow.
vanishes. More like he fucking teleports himself into an interdimensional space.
Yeah.
You 2D devil fucker.
um, but John will keep the carriage moving. And as night falls again, you know the drill. Rouse checks.
Can I send you a Lola picture instead?
I mean, you can, but Wolf will still be hungry. Oh,
Okay, he's only at 3. Wolf's the easiest one to really not be hungry.
that's not. That's the wrong rouse, Leigh.
It's a rousey check.
Lillian's just out here, like,
You're
not
on the
hungry.
Oh wow, we all got hungry. Aside from Jax, I don't think Jax has rolled yet.
Oh, sorry, we got asked for a fucking check.
Oh,
I
and
just decided to
Rouse
go to
check.
outer
Lillian
space.
didn't get
Whoops.
hungry.
Oopsie
Do I hear a
whoopsie.
pit stop?
Yeah, now that he's actually here, I'm never gonna get hungry again.
What was that, Ranna?
Do I hear the sound of a pit stop?
I mean, as you're all awakening, Wolf being the first to kind of peek his dog head out from under the tarp, you are being driven through the village of Nether End. John seemingly trying to find a quiet place out of the way of prying eyes so that your troop can unload. It's not very long before the gangly form of Mr. Thorne appears beside your carriage again. As Jean does finally pull round the back of an old warehouse, like small brick warehouse used for storing things for the winter. Seems rather disused at this point. And will kind of look back to you, Wolf, and go, "This should be secluded enough, sir. I have arrived at Nether End."
Just the sounds of bone crunching as he becomes human shaped again. He's just like,
All right. Looks perfect enough. Your judgment is excellent as always, Jean.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Thorn is nearby, just kind of observing, like he has been doing since you met.
So, Abe, my boy, as I get the others out, anything you'd like to tell us about Nether, whatever the fuck?
Nether End is a subsidiary territory under my prince, but Duloc has some connections of his own. It is a small, very, very just community. All of the people here view dear Montclair as their, well, high priest of sorts, despite the fact he is far from that.
So it's a cult.
Kinda. He holds night services occasionally, and he has two
by the way, as
ghouls.
this conversation is going on, Wolf is opening up the coffins, letting people out.
Yeah,
Inside, by the
letting
way.
them.
Inside, not outside.
Yeah. But he has two ghouls who act on his behalf during the day, looking after the orphans.
Father O'Dimwit and Father O'Dumbass.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
They look after the orphan kids he takes in during the day and put on services and sermons while he is sleeping.
I mean, it's no secret that we, as a collective species, are incredibly fucked up individuals. But I'm not the only one who thinks that the feasting on children is just really fucking creepy, right?
It
Oh,
is.
it very much is, but you'd be surprised. There are some with those tastes quite often in the Camarilla.
Mm-hmm.
You
Replacing
like
old
it,
blood with
but
young blood.
hmm,
And by the way, how'd a couple of fellow yokels come along and become princes up here?
Well, from what I gather, I'm not as old as my prince, but
Mm,
he was from here originally and had connections before he moved overseas
mm.
for a time. He returned about a years back and retook control of this territory.
I can respect a man's ambition.
As for Dulag, well, he is a prince only in name, as he controls it on behalf of mine, technically. But we've had trouble investigating this domain because of his own connections in the Camarilla. He has the backing of someone that even my prince does not like to tangle with.
Yeah, if he's connected to some of the folks that we think he is, or that we've heard in the past, there's some pretty elusive yet persuasive figures.
Yeah. So my hounds have been having a hard time actually investigating properly here, which in itself is rather annoying.
So the way your prince got lucky, couple anarchs come in, end up causing a little bit of chaos. Duloc doesn't do his job properly. That's grounds that nobody can really argue against for being a major fuck up in the Rilla.
Exactly. Plus, if this all goes south, y'all are the perfect scapegoats.
Mm-hmm. And if we survive, y'all are the perfect scapegoats for our bosses.
Mm-hmm.
It's a win-win, except for the
Mutually,
Sabbat.
mutually beneficial arrangement. And as
Oh
much as
yeah.
we try to keep them out, I doubt we'll be able to stop those Sabbat from doing what they want.
No, like a pack of wild dogs. They'll just
All,
keep coming so long as there's food on the porch.
all their factions infighting right now does not temper them at all. Probably makes them even worse.
Mm-hmm. So, with little light we have left, we should probably get a lay of the grounds. Figure out the shape of the town, maybe go feasting a little bit. This is technically your prince's dominion as well, so if anybody
Yeah,
has any issues,
they
tell them to
can
fuck
deal with
off.
me.
Nobody mention that you're an anarch.
I don't even like to use that term. It's not gonna be a problem.
The moment you mention an anarch, both our cover and Abe's cover here is blown. I think the last thing anybody wants is Dulog getting anything to throw at anybody. On that note, I'm gonna head to the local cemetery, which, if I'm not mistaken, is probably by the church, right?
Yes, it is. As much as I
Good.
would like to keep an eye on the greenhorns here, I need to go make my introduction in a more formal sense. It would seem
War's
more
war, but rules are
suspicious.
rules.
More suspicious if I was skulking around without making my intentions, whether they be real or not, clear.
Well, you do you, cutie pie.
I will find you all later.
I'm assuming he just slides into the shadows during that later and vanishes.
Yep.
All right. Even if he's still listening, I'm gonna say something that he already believes. Can't trust that man. Don't want to betray him, but don't trust him. In the same way that he doesn't want to betray us, but can't trust us. Mutual skepticism always works.
I'm gonna BRB just 1 second.
On that,
The driving force
I'm
of
go.
the driving force for the story has ran off. Everybody go crazy.
Wait a minute.
Actually, I need to go snack. And my snacking pool's right by the church. Zane,
Yes.
you're coming with me.
Okay. I'll come with you.
Now's the best time we got to see little Miss Sunshine. Don't want to integrate with her, but if we happen to be able to see which one it is, we'll know who to stay clear of.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it'd be interesting to see these two ghouls, the two church runners. If they do night sessions, we can see who's all going in, going out. And if anybody asks, who all ain't hungry? Lillian and Kaz, which one of you's hungry?
I have no need for food right now.
Kaz just like holds up the one finger, pops the bottle, takes her daily swig of it, closes it again. No.
Which one of you wants to come to the graveyard in case they start asking questions? You're gonna have to ask like a grieving widow.
Kaz is better at theatrics, I think.
I mean, isn't someone going to need to stay here and look after the thing?
Mazel tov. Kaz, you've just volunteered to stay here and look after the thing. Lillian, you're with me. That's what you get for being snarky.
I mean, John's just like, I would be staying with the cart unless my lady orders me to do otherwise.
Lillian, does John happen to have a knife on him?
He is quite capable of attacking.
Has he got like any weapons in his body?
Nothing built in, unfortunately. I haven't had the time to do that.
Okay, fine. John, if you need to contact us and your whatever the fuck relationship with Lillian, Lily Booba, Lily Dada, Lily Dee 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 doesn't work. Here,
And Wolf is taking out the grossest looking naked flesh bag rat, the flesh sinky, and handing it to John.
Is
A
your
mole
other
rat?
flesh slinky still with the kids?
Depending, has he come back to me at all?
Not yet. You told him to follow them.
Then no, he's still with the kids.
So your other flesh slinky is still not returned, but this new one gets given to the boy.
alrighty. If anyone wants to come to the graveyard with me, you can. I'm mostly just going for a snack, but if we by chance get to see the lay of the land, so be it.
I wouldn't mind seeing the graveyard.
I suppose safety in numbers and such.
Okay, then we going.
Yep.
Vic,
Yeah.
you're here with John.
Okay.
Are you hungry?
A bit.
You like fighting people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jax.
Jax, who was
Hmm.
mostly not just not been paying attention, goes, huh?
You wanna teach Victoria how to hunt fighty asshole people?
You just see him mouth the word teach.
Congratulations, in your confusion you have self-volunteered. Victoria, you with Jax?
Okay.
Jax, if anything happens, it's your fault. You're on your own. If they discover
Zane.
you, I ain't helping.
Not entirely sure you would have helped anyway, but sure, go forth, I guess.
I wouldn't have, even if I said I was. Don't trust me at all.
What
And
is
Wolf has already
Zane?
left the warehouse.
What is Zane doing?
Zane will join Wolf.
Okay, so Wolf, Lillian, Kaz, are you going with them as well?
Yeah, safety in numbers, as said.
So the four of you are heading to the graveyard slash church. And sorry. And Jax, you're left with the baby Nosferatu, who you've been told to teach how to hunt.
Well, can't entirely say it isn't the first time I've ever been, brought to teach someone a little smaller than me how to fight. Definitely the first time I've ever been brought to... Feels a bit wrong to say a child, but... This is where we are today.
Well, where do we start?
So, like, remind me. Like,
So she is the same hunter type as you, meaning
yes.
that she needs to fight, hunt.
Sorry, I was gonna ask, how old does she appear to be?
Uh, could be anywhere between like 18 and 20 odd years old. Like, she doesn't look very old. And you know that she's only just been turned not long ago.
Right. Well, I can certainly tell that you are old enough for my particular brand of hunting. Now, every vampire of our ilk has their own little preferences when it comes to where they like to hunt. But seeing as you're under my tutelage today, we'll be heading to ye old faithful. We're gonna go find ourselves a pub.
Alright. So, as you two head off to go find a bar, the rest of you make your way up the long, kind of winding road. It's very easy to see the kind of fairly, like, compared to the rest of the town, grand church on the hill with the kind of attached graveyard.
Well, I can
Um,
certainly see as to why he would take such a position. That's certainly one way to feed your ego. Maybe even your id while you're at it.
Mm-hmm. As the rest of you make your way up to the graveyard, there are lights on in the church windows. Um, and there doesn't seem to be anyone like loitering around outside right now.
That's fine. So,
Um,
some people prefer to stick to the streets for their fighting. Makes it easier to makes it easier to hide once it comes to the actual feeding part. But I've always
mhm.
preferred a tavern or a pub. See, people kind of expect this sort of thing to happen in there. So everyone gets a little bit angry, a little bit voracious. Scrap isn't too uncommon in there, so it doesn't look too strange when I find the worst bladder in there and knock their ass out.
I mean, it wasn't like that before, was it? When we went to
What?
that other pub, it was just quiet. There was just farmers playing poker or something.
There's always one, you see. It's certainly not a rule I would call a golden rule or anything of the sort. I don't really work by those sorts of creeds, but I do admit I've never managed to go into a pub and not find somebody who doesn't deserve the lights out treatment. I managed to find someone in the last tavern, pushing his weight around, generally being an asshole. And look, I'm not going to force my morals upon you at this point in time, but it does have to be said, when somebody already has such poor morals of their own, it doesn't exactly raise an eyebrow when someone decides to clap them out.
Didn't the sheriff fellow say that this was like a really religious place? Really small religious place?
Religious, huh? Well, see what we can do with that information, shall we?
Let's go see, I guess. Just kind of wanders ahead. There is like one bar in this entire town. Small little place. Cozy. Looks like they probably do food throughout the day as well.
Has to be said, I do quite like a smaller pub like this. Not everybody takes to join such little trivialities such as I when you get into our business, if you will, so to speak. But
Mm-hmm.
I quite like such a small, humble little establishment. Now, let's take it all in. What we're looking for is somebody worthy of a fight. Somebody, preferably, who hasn't made too many compadres in here. That's a little Spanish for you. I don't speak Spanish. I've been told it's Spanish.
Let's go in then, I guess. You push through the doors of the bar, and as you go in, there's it's empty.
How empty are we calling empty?
Not a soul.
You see Jack sort of do. She'll see Jack do a bit of a double take. She's like, well, it has to be said that an empty web catches no flies for the spider, but this is taking the mick. There isn't even a bartender. What's going on in here? Bartender?
No response.
Huh. Well, it
So
goes
on
without saying.
Go on.
This is certainly not exactly a gratuitous start to any sort of teaching I could be doing. Normally, you find people in pubs on account of them being pubs.
No.
I don't like this. This has something fishy smelling all over it. And we're too far from the coast for it to be anything else.
And as you discover the completely empty bar, we're going to switch to the other group as they approach the church. As you approach the church and graveyard, as I said before, the lights are on. And there's no one outside currently. So you can get up fairly close without anyone kind of clocking you. And you reach the graveyard with no opposition. What are you doing here? Wolf, Kaz, Lillian, and Zane. As you arrive to the graveyard, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm digging up a grave.
Okay, so Wolf
It is
immediately goes off
eating time.
to dig up a grave. What are the rest of you doing?
Lillian will probably look up at the church or wherever they're going if it's near enough by.
Oh yeah, the graveyard like surrounds the church. So you're very much close enough to kind of get a look at the church. It is, for this area of the country and this kind of remote of an area, it is a very grand church. Kind of old, dark brick. Looks like a very old church. It's got kind of stained glass in the front window and along the sides. Seems to have a kind of sort of annex building built onto the back of it that looks more modern. Probably quarters for people who live at the church, like the ghouls, the children. Duloc himself, probably. You also know from the information that Mallory gave you that there is an undercroft as well that is only accessible through the church.
Seems like a very pretentious building.
The lights are on, which for this time of night, it's not a usual thing you'd expect from a church, but you were also told that there are occasionally night services.
I guess Lillian's going to set up and make sure that nobody accidentally sees Wolf eating.
Bodies.
Yeah.
So you post up to keep Wolf out of sight. Zane and Kaz, what are you two doing?
Guys will be keeping an eye out just to make sure that no one's getting the drop on them.
Alright. Zane.
Zane will probably be looking around the graveyard to see if he can find anything cool.
Okay. So as you kind of leave the group to stalk around, see if you can find anything interesting. Can you roll me a wits plus awareness?
Realm of Darkness is still trying to think.
Darkness is taking its time.
Jeez, Realm of Darkness.
Oh my god.
Realm of Darkness.
I think Discord might be shitting the bed.
I think it
Because
might
I've
be a little, but Realm of Darkness certainly is.
Realm of Darkness has zoned out and has forgotten what has happened.
Realm of Darkness fell asleep mid-game.
I was just gonna say, Realm of Darkness is asleep.
Hang on.
Jesus Christ.
Let me just check something. 'Cause
Fine.
oh yeah, no, it is definitely
Yeah.
looking like it's the bot.
I'm not
Oh
having any
no.
issues with Discord loading anything, so.
I think the bot's just. Oh
Oh,
wait.
it rolled yours.
Hey,
It just has to think
What?
really hard about Rebecca's, apparently.
Excuse me. Did I roll that badly that it's literally shat its pants?
Realm of Darkness is thinking how to fudge this
Try it
roll.
again.
Right.
I'll take the second one, because I don't know what's going on with that roll, but. There we
Oh,
go.
there we go. I don't know what happened with that first one.
That first one's still thinking.
I wonder if it will ever stop thinking.
It's just gonna be like a few days from now. You're just gonna get a ping.
No, no, no. It's going to be a case of the next time we run this game, you're going to ask for a really serious roll. Before Rebecca can even type it in, it's going to ping up that one and give her a really bad roll.
No. It's out for me.
But you got 3 successes. So as you're stalking around the yard, the graveyard, you kind of go around all the like kind of normal graves. There's a couple like family mausoleums here. But you see some as you kind of get towards the back of the graveyard behind the church, you see something a little different.
Oh.
As you kind of push through kind of an overgrown section, there is which you barely saw, like the kind of wrought iron fence completely covered and overgrown by plants. And as you kind of push your way through into this overgrown section, you find an area that is filled not with gravestones, but with cairns. Um, Another type of marker. But there's no names on them. There's no indication of what they're there to mark, even if they do usually mark a place of death or a route of travel. But there are quite a few back here. Some of them look very old, overgrown with moss and weeds creeping up upon them. Some look newer, though. This place, even to you, who is relatively young, this place feels off. Like there's a presence here that does not want you there.
Well, that presence I'm going to take, and I'm going to do a 180, go back and inform the rest of what I have found.
So the rest of you, as Wolf, you managed to dig up your corpse and have a snack. By the time you finished your snack, by the time Zane returns. And Zane returns and tells you. How does Zane explain what he found?
I found something kind of cool, but I have the feeling that whatever is around does not want us to be there. So I came back to tell you all if we should investigate. It's kind of overgrown over there, but yeah. It's just weird.
Weird how?
What was the things called again that you said?
Arns.
Cons?
Mm-hmm.
Cons. Yeah. Some look quite old, some look more new.
Where were they?
He'll point in the direction he went off to and found them.
Who's gotta look in that direction? He's not getting any close, but he's gotta look to see where Zane is.
So, Zane, you're just pointing to that direction right now?
Yes.
So you point over, and he's pointing to a very overgrown kind of section of the graveyard that's kind of been mostly retaken by nature. Before that, it's kind of very well maintained. And then, you know, it becomes more overgrown the further back you go.
These cards have sigils.
Did I see any sigils or was I too far away?
You didn't really get close enough to investigate them.
I didn't go that close to them, so I didn't actually see if they had any sigils on or not.
Wolf will get closer. He's not gonna touch them. He will
Yeah, so you're pushing
head
through
off
the
in that
brush
direction.
into the area.
Yes.
So you approach the overgrown area and push your way through the place that Zane indicated. And as you push through, you see several cairns in this area. Some very much overgrown with moss and weeds, and others a lot more look more recent, not as overgrown. As you kind of look at them, are you looking at the newer ones or the older ones first?
Both.
So your eyes first go to the newer ones as they're clearer of debris. You see there are etchings in the stone, so that kind of make up the cairn.
Mm-hmm.
Some have kind of braided leather cord around them. There are no names, no identifying marks. Nothing that'd quite pass for a sigil, at least in modern, in this Victorian modern time. They some of the leather cords have bits of metal kind of tied to them. But even as you're just kind of standing here, there is a presence. Not one you can see, but one that is very unwelcoming.
magic, but not a ward. Hmm. If you are a ghost, you are amongst undead, so you can show yourself. Spirit, wraith, ghost. If you are something else, I don't mind a little bit of company.
I want you. Can you roll me? Just because this is a bit of a persuasion sort of thing to try and get whatever it is to show itself. I will let you pick from. I will let you use. You can either use composure or manipulation, depending on how
We'll
you
do
want to
manipulation.
do it, and obviously persuasion.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like you to roll that for me, please.
Yes. That's one success.
So that one success, you see something form differently than you expected. This is not a human spirit. As the form of a bear takes shape. Around it, there are floating motes of light that seem to cling close to it. As the bear, with a very unwelcoming look in its eye, stares you down. Hmm?
One. He is already fed.
What was that, sorry? You've already
He is
fed.
already fed. So we're gonna use feral whispers, which does require a rouse check. Well, we'll feed again here in a second.
Just go back to the same grave.
Mm-hmm. Feral whispers, two-way communication with animals or summonings. As Wolf looking at the bear.
Well,
Welcome back.
beast or spirit?
Kind of looks and is like, you hear a kind of light, almost feminine voice, and it's a little disjointed. But it replies, "A spirit of this place, protector."
Protector of the church? Or
Of
What did
cub
she say?
of cubs.
Protector of children. Well, according to what I've been hearing, you haven't been doing a very good job at that, seeing as there's a couple kindred feasting on the little biters.
Can't get in. Locked out.
These little stones?
Children.
Are the stones what are keeping you out?
No. But they stop children from resting. And you see her kind of large paw swipe at one of the nearby ones, but she doesn't seem to be able to interact with it. It seems to almost repel her paw. How much would Wolf know of spirits?
Wolf, probably a decent amount. Maybe not the spirits of this land, but Wolf is he's a country gang. He spent a lot of time in forests and woodlands, especially within Eastern Europe. So there's some decent knowledge. He's not like able to summon them or anything, but he's probably seen a spirit or two before.
This spirit has a kind of distinct energy that is not pleasant to you. As it definitely seems to be a spirit of the land. A spirit of Gaia. It gives off that very much energy that is an antithesis to your existence.
Mm-hmm.
Probably explains why it's it feels so unfriendly as well. The spirit seems to be able to move around the cairns and probably could leave the grove, but there's from what she stated, she probably can't get into the church where the children are being kept.
Why do you care?
Cubs are precious. Part of cycle. Must be protected.
And yet, those that are weak, I pray for those that are strong.
That's why it is a mother's job to protect them.
But you're not strong enough to break the cans to get inside to protect them. By the sounds of it, you've been outplayed.
This land is losing its connection. It wanes.
Well, of course. Forgotten about by man and subdued by undeath. What if, my dear Ursine associate, what if you were to get inside? What kind of chaos would you create?
I would protect cubs by tooth and claw.
But what if the cubs are no longer cubs? What if they are now with the beast?
Then the taint must be purged
Mm.
to protect those cubs that still are pure.
Harsh, but fair. Not to those that stand before you that you are asking for assistance. We too are tainted.
You stink of rot.
Of course. I'm a scavenger, a parasite, if you will. But the chaos that you'd create happens to coincide with our agenda at the moment. We too want the abominable children to die, to purge them.
Well,
We also would like to take this construct down. If we were to help you in, would we have your word that you would not do us harm?
must know your scent.
Hmm. Can you tell the scent apart between our kind?
I believe so. You smell
We
of
won't
rot.
be able to help. Oh, yes, but there are others in there that are of our kind that we do not agree with. They have been performing.
He smells of oil and perfume.
Don't you hate it when they try to cover up the scent of death? I like it better. We won't be able to free you tonight. We'll be back tomorrow night. Come up with a lovely little plan.
Very
Can
well.
you wait?
Yes.
Wonderful. I'll bring more friends. And then we'll find a way to get you in, and you can trollop about, saving your precious little cubs and burning those horrid priests.
I must be the one to take action. There are no warriors left here. All left. Abandoned.
Such a shame. Where's the dogs when you need them?
And Wolf is taking Zane with him back to the group.
Lovelies! We're leaving.
This fruit is going to pluck something from the body. As he does, he is filling back up the grave as he goes.
We need some rest, and we need to come up with a plan. One that involves a bear.
Are you about to drag a bear here?
You know me so well.
As you head back down towards the car, it's at this point that Jax and Victoria, you will meet up with the rest of the group.
Jax has since been to every
The town was empty.
has basically gone to every public building in this town at this point.
Apart from the church. But everyone, it was empty. There's no one there. It's all unlocked, but no one's there.
So walks up to him and goes, right, well, I bet you better start telling me what the hell's going on up there, because nobody's down here.
Probably one of the night sermons.
Night
And
sermons. Look,
It's a
I,
cult.
I look. I might not be particularly religious. I would rather hope that none of us are particularly. But that's the point. There is nobody down here. There ain't a goddamn soul.
that's when
That's not a
Thorn
night
reappears
sermon.
right behind Jax and is like, "It is indeed the night sermon."
Who appears?
Thorn, Abernathy, your La Sombra sheriff.
They're
Mr.
cold.
Abernathy.
Isn't this form of feeding frowned upon?
Very much, but technically not illegal.
Hmm. I imagine it's frowned upon if we were to lock up the church and burn it to the ground.
Yes, cause too much
Hmm.
mess. Plus,
Be a
Anarch's doing
tragedy.
that in
Would
kind of a
start a
legitimate
war.
way. Yes, and I personally do not think your Baron is prepared.
Jax,
Right. What sort of chaos am I required for today?
how do you feel about bears in churches?
Sort of looks at you for a moment, takes that sort of deep sigh of this is the most wolf thing I've been asked so far. I don't particularly have any opinions on bears in churches.
Good. Seeing as the night sermons are a thing, they'll be safe in the day. It'll make it harder at night. Unless, of course, a certain somebody was to unleash a ghost bear into the church. Now, that's not an us issue.
Ghost bear.
Well, more like a splinter of the divine energies of Gaia, but ghost bear. Don't touch it. It will literally consume your very being, purifying you and turning you to ash.
Hmm.
Can't say it was
Unpleasant.
particularly on my list of plans, but alright.
I'm going to unleash it on the church. Everyone will scream seeing a bear running around. The chaos will be quite natural. No one will connect vampires with a rogue bear.
I just got jump scared, I'm sorry.
While this is happening, Zane, Jax, and Mr. Thorne, I'm trusting you three to take down Duloc. If he's smart, seeing a ghost bear, the ghost bear apparently does not like him. The ghost bear will attempt to kill him. If you want him alive for your own justice, you'll want to take him out during the chaos or when he's running. He's a smart man, and by that I mean he's a parasite. Kaz and Lillian, your job's even more special. You two need to find the children. Is everyone okay with this?
Oh, I
Are
didn't
you
think I needed to really, I didn't exactly expect any level of, needing to agree with, any job
Jax,
that
you're an
involves me
anarch. It's a
chasing someone down.
democracy.
Are you going to be handling the sigils that keep the bear out?
The sigils are for spirits, not for hammers. That's the issue with magic. It's very single-minded, especially wardings. as well. Anything else? Any cause for concern? Kaz, you've been pretty quiet.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Going to assume the possibility of that not pleasant child being amongst the normal children. How would you like us to deal with that?
Just treat them like a normal kid, I
Fact of the
suppose.
matter is the faith. The faith bound will probably be near her. Like a dog on a chain near the master. If she is attached to this church as any other, she'll probably be there during the sermon itself. The lucky thing is, if she awakens during all of this, she awakens on the bear.
Okay, I'm gonna
The
bring
bear
up.
can take it.
I'm
It's
gonna
a
bring up.
divine spirit.
I'm
We
gonna.
cannot.
I'm gonna bring up the thing no one else has brought up yet. Where did you manage to find a bear in the UK? Let alone a ghost bear.
Technically, at this point, there's probably still a couple bears in Scotland, but you know.
But we're not in Scotland.
Are you questioning Wolf? Dumbass.
No,
First off,
I'm
I'm
questioning
not the
this.
one who found it. It was Zane.
Where did Zane find a bear?
Oh yeah, you're allowed to question Zane.
Second off, Kaz, the world is filled with spirits. There are always things are watching you, keeping an eye on you, greater entities slowly awaiting as you either fulfill their dark agendas or you play out the role as their enemy.
You do realize you could have just made things easier by saying it was buried here by a zoo or something.
It was
Well,
buried.
it's not actually an undead bear. It's a representation. It's an earth spirit. Think of it like a small god, but not actually a god. It's like a splinter of a god's power, but the god's not actually a god, it's a primordial force. Anyways, I met one that was a deer one time and I hunted it.
I like this plan better when it was a ghost of a bear from a zoo. God,
And
this
I
is getting
liked you
complicated.
better when you were all song and dance.
Oh, I've never stopped being that.
Exactly, and I've never stopped not liking you. So,
Yes.
What the fuck are you doing, dog?
Oh,
so,
Apparently, finding a
we all
bear.
know what we're doing? Ooh, by the way, you two, Liliana and Lily, and Kaz. Just because they are children does not mean that they are children. You know what needs to be done? Your silence after I am asking if you know what needs to be done is concerning.
We were waiting for a follow-up answer to that.
Yes, it sounded more of a statement than a question.
Indeed.
Oh, apologies. Sorry, I meant you know what needs to be done?
I'm still hearing an exclamation point rather than a question mark.
It's a yes or no answer, not a blah 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 backsass answer, bitch.
I assume you want us to route the ones that are unnecessary?
Yes. Kill them. If you need to, preferably with fire. Don't treat them like they're going to be any other kindred. They're little mutants. Fire kills just about everything. And luckily for you, a church is filled with very flammable stuff.
Yes, but at the same time, keep in mind we're going to have to try and do that away from the other kids, given the whole idea of if this one kid sees something traumatic, we're all fucked.
They're not going to keep the little mutants with the faith child.
If they know we're coming, they'll probably end up trying to mix them.
No. Duloc is not an idiot.
Exactly.
Why would he mix something that reacts to
Because,
something else? He'd be
because,
putting himself in danger.
because if he knows he's already in danger, and his chances are very slim, he's going to try everything he can to take everyone down with him. You
He's
know
all.
how these kinds work. Paranoia is their
Except,
speciality.
except, he's a selfish megalomaniac.
Yes,
He's going to try and take everything down but him. But his connections, those children, are more important. We've seen that they've gone wild before, that they've feasted. He would not risk losing the faith child or losing the children.
no, but he would risk the faith child seeing it and then awakening if it meant our destruction.
That would mean his destruction, and he's not that dumb. You're thinking the man is far more insane than what he actually probably is. The man is referred to as a narcissistic, selfish bastard. No narcissist will self-destruct like that.
Let me put it this one way. If you knew that your chances were next to nothing, wouldn't you want to take down your killer?
No, because I'd be able to escape, always have an escape plan. You youngsters
I
and
feel
the
you're missing.
ideology of the fact that you have to self-destruct.
I feel like you're missing the point of next to nothing. There is no escape. There is no survival. There is only your death and the
Why,
chance that you could take
if
someone
I
down with you.
may interject, would you
There's
think,
always an escape.
if I may interject, why would you think that he would believe that there was next to nothing he could do?
Because he's with a faith child.
He's
With
using
that,
that
she's just going
child
to just have
as
the
a
smuggest
weapon.
look on her face.
He plans to use that child as a weapon. He would not risk it being consumed so early if he could avoid it.
I feel like we're all missing certain steps here, and we're going around in circles. So let's just move on.
The the other thing that you need to know about is that this is his haven. There's an escape.
Hmm.
He's going to have some way to slick about.
In
If
which
he's
case, we should
smart,
probably be
that is.
focusing more on trying to find that and neutralizing the escape.
But you don't know his escape yet.
And that's why we need to try and find it. The fuck am I looking at?
Abe, you know
Yeah,
Duloc.
I do.
Do you know what he's capable of?
I know he's not as weak as your newborns. He is pretty much what you'd expect from a Ventru.
Oh, yeah,
And
no, there's no way he's self-destructing. If he's a Ventru,
exactly,
he's
he
gonna be too prideful.
prepared to probably sacrifice everyone in that church just to save his own hide.
Hello, I return, sir.
That's of course believing that he's got the children in the church and not the undercroft.
That is for your undead. I'm guessing when you're saying children, you're talking about your undead children.
Well,
He
his
does
undead
have,
children.
yes, he does have orphans, human orphans, living at that place too. That's probably where
Hmm.
you're going to find that true faith child.
So she'll be with the human orphans.
Yeah, since he's helping build this new breed of mutants. I doubt he would risk them being in the same place as the True Faith child.
It's like mixing your mushrooms with your strawberries. You're bound to get a blight.
He kind of looks over.
If we are nervous about where the children are being held, then we can, upon the night, investigate their night sermons. However, if that happens, if that is necessary, myself and Jax will need to get up to something else, as I can't see this man being incredibly religious and respectful in the company of a bunch of old ladies, and I myself stand out like a sore thumb in a church. It's the teeth.
Would also be pretty well recognized by his people.
So in that case, Lillian and Kaz, tomorrow night, you'll stake out the church during the night sermon. See if the Holy Child is held with our targets, and then we'll plan around that. Does that ease the concern?
Seems simple enough.
Very well.
All right.
And with that, the night is coming to an end, and you start to feel the pull as your sheriff friend disappears into the shadows. You all return to your coffins for the night.
Wolf is
What did you say?
sinking into the ground. Wolf is earth melting. He's sinking into the ground.
Fair. And yeah, you all go to rest for the night. And that's where we're going to end it for this week.
Do you?
Everyone is going to get 2 XP this week.
No.
Lovely.
Give me a second. I will be right back.
2 XP, so total experience currently is 3.